Obviously, you missed the Tuesday game. Just how did you feel in this one in terms of the injury?
I felt fine. I mean, obviously not well enough to get us to where we need to be, but I feel fine. Knees fine. We're gonna keep pushing forward.
And what was the post-game speech from coach? Just what were the things that he was emphasizing after a loss like this?
You know, he said it was on him, but it wasn't on him at all. It was a collective unit. It was our fault for real. Like, we gotta come out, we gotta play harder. We gotta come out, we gotta do things better. We gotta pay attention to the scout. We gotta watch film better. We gotta do everything better. We gotta get in the gym more. So tonight was on us. It wasn't on him.
Charlie Phil from the Post. Akron sent a lot of pressure in the first half. Just how do you guys think that affected your sets and just ability to operate on offense?
I mean, they were trapping a lot of ball screens, and it kind of caused us to be sped up a little bit and make rush decisions. It kind of took us out of our sets. So really it was about, I mean, we got a lot of good shots in the first couple of medias. We just didn't knock them down. I feel like we let that affect our defense. And then, I mean, we just got dominated tonight, and there's nothing you could really say.
Looking at it, we made your basketball back-to-back games for you guys where it was kind of just a team foul trouble early on. How does that change the way you guys play defensively?
I mean, we know we could be a good defensive team. We've showed it before. But when you send somebody to the line 26 times and they hit 20 or 26, that's the game right there. You got to play without fouling. So people getting to the line and scoring, people getting to the line and being able to hit 20 free throws, like, you're not going to win many games. So you got to find a way to defend without fouling.
Grant, keep your WAB with 2 tough road games next week against 2 good teams. Is this just throw it out with Kent State on Tuesday? Just forget that this one happened.
For sure. I mean, we only played them once this year, which it sucks that what happened tonight happened. But I mean, at this point we're fine to get to Cleveland, so we can't worry about what happened last game. We got 2 tough road games coming up, so we got to watch the film. We got to correct what we did wrong. I mean, we got to fix a lot of stuff and be ready to go against Kent, because Kent's a really good team as well. So.
Murray Johnson had 24 tonight. Just what challenges does he present to you guys as a defense?
Good guard. Just got to be able to find a way to contain him. We couldn't contain him. We got to be better, sound defensively. Even ball screen coverages, I got to be better. And, we just got to find a way to play team defense instead of individual defense. So we play individual one-on-one defense tonight, not team. That's not a recipe for success.
When Akron went on that long run in the first half, they kind of got the lead, opened up. Just what was it that they were doing so well during that, 6 minutes that really let them kind of open the game up?
I know I had 2 bad shots. I had a shot blocked, and then I thought I got fouled on one shot, and I didn't. And I was on the floor. That was a 5-on-4 transition. Bowen Hartman hit a 3. On both my bad shots, they hit threes. So that's 6. Not getting back on D. They had a moment where we had a foul. We got fouled and we went to the free throw line, hit the free throw, and then they came to the other end and had an and 1. So just capitalizing on our mistakes. And today was a game where we could make very few mistakes, and we made a lot more than we should have.
Anything else?
Awesome crowd tonight. Appreciate everybody coming out. Wish we would have done our part to get them into the game. But national TV audience with that type of crowd, we didn't capitalize on it. And give Akron a lot of credit. That's a really, really good team. They're a veteran team, and they make you, pay for every mistake you make. And coming into the game, we were worried about their threes, rebounding, transition points. And I thought the whole first half we were on our heels. We had to travel, bobbled the ball, bounced twice, missed a couple layups, missed some wide open threes, and they took advantage of every opportunity they could. Coming in the game, everybody but one team that they've played so far has had more points off turnovers, points off of second chance points, and fast break points, and that was Miami. Miami won all three of those areas. So that's really what we tried to key in on. And I thought, like I said, we were on our heels, way too many direct line drives, that beat off the dribble. And for them to have 26 free throws, I mean, they averaged 11 coming in. It's not even what they do. But we didn't give any resistance on that. Our gap help, we were a little too worried about the threes. Thought second half we came out, competed, fought, which is what I wanted to see. Cut it to, I think, 14 or 15, 15. Had a layup blocked, missed a wide open three, to capitalize on that, to cut it to, 11, 12, 13. And, give them credit. That's a really good team.
Andrew, WAB with two really tough road games next week. What do you do with this game? Is this one that you kind of just flush out right away? Do you really analyze it? Just what's the plan for going forward and looking at this?
Yeah, I mean, the good thing about basketball, right, you get an opportunity Tuesday. And you can't feel sorry for yourself. You can't, complain. You got to get back to work. And, this weekend's going to be a little screwy with the weather. We tried to petition the NCAA to give us a waiver to practice tomorrow instead of Sunday because, I suppose we're getting dumped on. They denied the waiver, so we can't practice tomorrow. We got to take tomorrow off because you got to take 1 day off per week. So we'll see Sunday kind of where we're at and how much snow is on the ground and, see who can get to the combo if it is bad. And then we have to have great prep, because like I told our guys, everybody's fighting for a top 8 seed right now. We're at the halfway point. We're 5-4. And we got to be better. We lost 2 home games now. We've won 2 road games. So, Kent State's fighting for a top, 2, 3, 4 seed, right? You go to Buffalo, they're fighting for a top, 5, 6, 7 seed. So every possession, every game's going to matter. We got to regroup. We got to stay positive, right? That's part of basketball. That's part of life. That's part of losing. That's part of winning. And, we got to come back ready to work.
Charlie from the post, you mentioned first half you were on your heels a lot. Was it like the Akron pressure, ball screen pressure that they sent? What was it specifically about the Akron defense?
Yeah, they're very physical. They put a lot of pressure on the ball. We knew they'd trap the ball screens with, Jackson. But I thought, like I said, we missed some layups early. We bobbled the ball out of bounds early. Things that weren't really forced. And, you have to capitalize when, you get trapped or you throw the ball into the post and, they double team from the low side. So we knew, where the spots were going to be. We knew they're going to double. And when they do that, you got to take advantage of the opportunity, right? You have to let their post double and they're trapping the ball screen, make your offense. And we didn't capitalize on it enough.
Looking at some major basketball, you mentioned earlier this is not a team that typically gets to the dominates at the rim, dominates getting to the line. But they did so today. What do you think allowed them to dominate in a way that's so atypical for them?
I'm sorry, say it one more time, Logan.
What do you think just kind of allowed them to dominate in a way that's so atypical for them?
Yeah, number one, they're really good. Like those guards are as good as anybody. Like those are 2 high major, like probably 3 high major guards they got, and they all, they hit some tough shots late, right? ISO 1v1 fadeaways, step back threes, but that's what they do. And coming in, they averaged 20 assists a game. I thought we made them play more 1v1, but like I said early in the first half, those were direct line drive layups. So they didn't really need to make that extra pass. Without watching the film, I'm sure we were, too hugged up, worried about the 3-point shooting. And very reminiscent of last year, game 1 at their place. Game 2, we made the adjustments, right, where we were more gap-oriented, our communication was way better, and that's why we were able to beat them, because of that. And hopefully we get a chance to see them again because that means we're in a tournament.
You just referenced they definitely hit some tough shots tonight, but you let them shoot nearly 50% from the field. They score 86. Just, both tonight and over this recent stretch, you've had some games where you've let up 80, 85, let up 100 in Toledo. What are your kind of thoughts on the defense over this kind of last week or 2 stretch?
Yeah, definitely not good enough. And I think if you go back to when we were 1-6, we kind of circled back, kind of looked at what we needed to. After that point, our ball pressure was much better, our disruption was much better. And, the last few games, it's not been very good. And that's a big reason why, teams are able to, kind of do what they want. And, having Elijah back, helped us, but obviously, he's been out a couple weeks now. We got to get him back in rhythm, getting, game shape. Hopefully he's okay after tonight's game. He'll help us from a perimeter defensive standpoint. But I think, that's probably the biggest thing is we've gotten away from that, ball pressure disruption, on the basketball.
Grant for WAUB, Gross, these last few times he's been here, it hasn't really been the results he wanted. Obviously, it's building means something to him. Do you think that, this might have been just more than, any other game for him, knowing that he's had a couple of those shortcomings?
I'm maybe a little bit, but, this is a different team. Like this team, I told him before the game, this team he has now is better than last year's team. And what they go 17-1, I think. We were the only team to beat them. They are really good, and I think you got to give them credit. They came in here and did exactly what they wanted to do, what they needed to do, and I got out coached. We got out competed, and give them credit. It's a really good team. Like I said, I was happy with our fight and competing in the second half, but we've talked about before when you get down so much. You expend so much energy getting back into it, and when you get to that 14, 15-point spot, you got to try to keep getting over the hump. But that's a veteran team. I'm not sure how many seniors they have, but they got 8 of their top 9 back and added a high major transfer in Mahaffey. They just, like I said, they take advantage of every mistake you make.
Kind of building off the defensive woes this team's faced, obviously a large part of that is foul trouble. Today, Javen and Aiden both picked up 2 quick fouls. Jalen came in, picked up 2 of his own. What needs to happen to kind of curb that fouling issue?
I think some of that is a result of like being on our heels, not being where we need to be, not pressuring the ball where we need to be. I'd be interested to see how many are like off of drives where they come over and help. When I played, that's how I got a lot of my fouls. Like a guard gets beat and you try to step over and help. So without watching the film, those 2 are very important, especially Hadaway and Javen. We got to be smarter. When you do have 1 foul, and then you can't pick up that 3rd foul. And I thought Jalen Breath gave us good minutes. He had 3 offensive boards in the first half. I thought J.J. Kelly was really good today on both ends. But like I said, we didn't play well enough to win.
More specifically with Aiden's fouls, the text has sort of become a problem. He had another one tonight. Just what are the conversations like with him kind of going forward to fix that?
Yeah, it's at some point I knew it was going to come hurt us, and tonight was the night. And the emotional maturity has got to be there, and it wasn't tonight. And that includes myself. I got upset when we gave up a layup off a free throw when we weren't communicating. And as a senior, he's got to be better. He knows that. But at some point, you got to be able to do it.
You just mentioned JJ. You thought he had a good game. Just at this point in his first year here, just where do you feel he is at in his development, and what do you think is maybe some of the best things that he's doing?
Yeah, number one, he plays hard. He just plays hard. He covers up a lot of mistakes. He had a couple big-time blocks, from the weak side, tonight that, most freshmen can't make or won't make or didn't make. And, he plays like a veteran. He puts the time and effort in. Like I said, defensively, he's guarding 1v1. I'm not sure how many times he got beat off the dribble, but it wasn't, many.
AJ Shelton had another tough game offensively. And I know he had a lot of stuff that doesn't show up in the box score, but is there any kind of consideration into tweaking his minutes or taking him out of the lineup, starting lineup?
Well, tonight, he didn't play a whole lot in the second half, I believe. In the 23 minutes are probably a low for him, recently. Elijah coming back will help. And like I said, Elijah being thrown into this type of game, I think he missed 2 weeks or whatever. That's tough to throw him in this environment, right off the bat. But we need AJ. He makes threes. We're a different team. He's been good defensively. Tonight wasn't his night, and he'll bounce back.
With 2 road games against 2 really tough teams next week, just how much urgency is there knowing that it could slide to 5-4 right now to potentially a 5-6 type deal at this point in the season?
Yeah, every game matters, right? And there's got to be an urgency. And I've said this before. This is the best the league's been in my 7 years, top to bottom. And you can look at Ball State's record and Central Michigan's record, but when you have so many new people and players. Like, everyone's going to get better through the course of the season. Northern, plays really hard. They have talented guards, and they're going to continue to beat some people. So for us, there's an urgency every single game, and we got to regroup. It's my job as the head coach to stay positive, come back in with a good game plan, work hard. And, like you said, we got 2 tough road games, and there's no more important game than the next one. That's at Kent State, who's playing, really well right now. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
Be safe. Don't get on the roads on Sunday.